So I finished up The Longest Race by Ayres. I did the audiobook. I was kind of disappointed in it. When I was reading the synopsis, it talked about him doing the JFK race and some of the other things about, um, people hunting, like just trying to accomplish different aspects of running and things he thought about in life. Was kind of disappointed how the story jumped around a bunch. Um, it's gonna be a crappy review just because I don't remember too much about the story itself, other than he was running the JFK 50 miler and he would talk about it for like 2 or 3 minutes and then jump to some other topic and then jump back. It was too much jumping around instead of getting in depth with any kind of story or thing that he thought about um, at the time. So there's too much jumping around that you really couldn't grasp um, the story that he was actually trying to portray in the book. I would like to, again, had more depth in some of the side notes and talk about the JFK 50 miler more. Um, I know it was basically because he won uh, his age group or whatever when he was like 60 years old or something like that. Um, so it was a big accomplishment. I mean, it really is, but the book itself is just so back and forth. You sort of get lost in the actual material. Um, like he even talked about like shoes and stuff at one point. Um, the one thing that did stand out in the book was he was talking about um, long distance runners not running on their forefoot and they need to hill strike to save energy, and I'm just like it's really not what necessarily the science says now, and things like that, because hill striking, unless that's your normal form, um, it's not necessarily good for you uh, with the impact. But he was like contradicting what the science says now. Um, just like a couple of other little things like that. I'm not sure actually when the book was written, but it lost me so many different times where I'm trying to tune in and listen to what he was saying. I just got lost with his little side stories that um, were basically just too short to really remember anything before he jumped back into the 50K or the 50 miler and then, jumps back. So it was just uh, another one of those books that, I mean, if you really enjoy running, you might like it. And if you actually like read the um, physical copy, you might get a lot more out of it. But reading or listening to it through the audio version just uh, definitely doesn't keep your attention enough. Um, so I wouldn't recommend it. I would skip it and go to something else. The only good thing about it is, at least this running book doesn't have a bunch of training plans in it. Um, I know so many running books I keep talking about, half the book's training plans. At least he actually had some substance in this and not a bunch of training plans. And this is what I do. You got to do this. So I will say, Ed, you did a good job at least keeping that junk out of it. Um, the cover of the book looks nice, but other than that, it was hard for me to keep my attention during the book. I was glad when it was over. Um, so yeah, another book that I don't recommend, that you can definitely skip over.